Record to the cloud. Cool. So, ACOS is a good, KPI, but it's not the only one that we should be aware of. I think some important ones to note are going to be cost of acquisition. I think looking at cost per click and cost per mil, so cost per mil equals cost per 1,000 impressions. So if you weren't aware, this is really an awareness driver. So how many eyeballs can you get in front of for a specific dollar amount? I would say cost per click is that attribution that we're seeing in platform. So, as we kind of progress, so here is lifetime 2019, you can see roughly 16% increase in our ACOS. Click-through rate held relatively steady at 0.2%. Cost per click went up, more than just the associated cost of sale. But really the cost of acquisition is what I looked at and said, hey, this is really, really high. So $12 to acquire someone, that may be just the value of a full retail sale. So depending on how often people come back, that could be really expensive. So I compared that to two more time frames, so as far back as I could pull, so the full month of August and the full month of September. So, our ad spend has been disproportionately high when you look at, okay, this is 2 months versus all of pre-2019. We've got a lot of ad spend recently. The good is that we have a lot of impressions. I think we talked about that on the call today. I think the key indicators here is that these two figures are really, really high. And then, obviously, it's kind of associating a high ACOS, you can see that we're just kind of spending too much money to try to acquire new customers. Now, if our goal was to drive impressions, I think we drove a lot, but then we would have to look at, hey, what was our cost per 1,000 impressions? And in September, it was actually down. So, if we were improving that and improving our cost per click, then yes, month over month from August to September, we would have generated some improvement there. So what I want to show you guys is kind of the steps for analysis that I had done, and some of the other components. And Len, I'm just going to put you on mute because I think there's just some background noise. Oh, thanks, buddy. But there's kind of three different areas that we can kind of diagnose. And to get that, what we're going to be doing, so in Seller Central, under reports and advertising reports, you can see that I've had some recent downloads. You can change it by the placement, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to use sponsored products in this call. But we have the search term, the targeting, advertised product, and placement. So those are the ones that I kind of really generated downloads for initially. So I've got here performance by SKU. So sponsored products, advertised product, that would be that download, and you can see it's right here. And then if we go to performance by targeting, that's our sponsored product targeting report. And then finally, search term report is obviously downloaded there. So those are the three that I'm going to use today, just kind of in our example. And then in other tabs, I've got our campaign manager open. And then most importantly, I've got pack view open. So once we kind of create this structure, you can certainly create campaigns from pack view if you would like. I would like to kind of get you guys at least a baseline of creating campaigns in both workflows, but I think it's important to kind of know how Seller Central operates first. So that's kind of how we're going to be going at it today. So what I started with, after we went through the summary, looked at performance, I started with our performance by SKU. So when we create a campaign, we've got our overarching campaign, beneath it are ad groups, and within an ad group, you've got advertised products. So I looked at, hey, was there a clear-cut product that would deliver more revenue when advertised versus other like items? So when we highlight the RHLS, we'll heard, yeah, I'm sure it's a liquid lipstick, but I don't know this assortment very well. So, but I'm assuming that these are related items. So when we compare each of these, you can see that the associated cost of sales is high for each of them, but comparatively, 69% is substantially better than 105 and 116%, considering they drove the same amount of revenue for all intents and purposes. They're within $8, but the amount of spend that was required to get there was substantially less. So we could take that as, hey, this may be the most effective item to market or to advertise in that campaign. So maybe we actually increase the cost per click, or it can be prominently featured by itself. But this is why we can start with looking at which items are going to be the most effective to advertise initially. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna sort by SKU name. Maybe this is a little bit easier. So we've got, a good naming convention here that makes it easy to determine, which items are in which buckets. So as we look at, maybe this is lip liner, lip plumper, I'm not quite sure. There's quite a few items with a good ACOS. So anything under 40%, I just kind of highlighted in green. But you can see that total spend across this, $76, relatively modest still. So something to keep in mind is that, if we don't have 10 clicks or more, it's kind of hard to make really sound decisions unless you have a big enough data set. But this is going to be important as we kind of move into the next kind of chunk of our campaigns, which is our targeting. So if we're creating an automatic campaign, we will have the items that we're featuring. We're not going to choose search terms, but we can change our bids based off of 3 components. So close match, loose match, and substitutes. So consider substitutes. Would you be able to effectively replace buying one item with another? So they should be extremely close. Close match, not replaceable, but highly similar. And then loose match, maybe just items within an assortment. So related, but certainly not replaceable, maybe within kind of a larger portfolio of items that you might use in an ecosystem. So what I highlighted here was, for each of these ad groups, so we have moisturizing lipsticks, liquid lipsticks, etc. Kind of just did a quick table on showing how each ad group would have performed based off of each kind of targeting type. But I think really we could boil it down to overall, what were the top performers? Well, substitutes was, far and away the best performing targeting type, versus close match was wasn't as good, but it was still within the parameters that we want to set as our return on investment. Loose match, not so much. A lot of impressions, so you can see that traffic is substantially higher. But if we had to bet between close match and loose match, if we would have just attributed 1.1 million more impressions here, and however many clicks that would have been based on a 3.3% click-through rate, what would have been our return on investment had that $1,500 just been attributed to something a little bit more applicable? So this is a good way to kind of diagnose, hey, where's my money going, or where's the money for our brand going, and is it going into the right bucket? And then this is obviously not necessarily by placement or targeting, but this is just overall ad group performance. So you can see what was doing well, what was not. And then finally, this one's I think probably what most people.
Hey, Darius, can I ask you a question?
I'm going to have you hold the question for a little bit. So I'm just kind of going through some history, but I'll definitely have some time for you guys to inquire. So once I get through the search term, then we can pause, answer some questions, and I'll go through kind of creation and put some of these aspects into play. So this one's probably going to be more familiar to some individuals. So this is the actual search term that we're bidding on through manual campaigns, but also this is data from automatic campaigns. So I'm pulling in the actual keywords or phrases that people are using, and then seeing, hey, what was our return on investment? So there's a couple things I did. For simplicity, I could have had a really massive table, but I broke out which items actually had revenue. So you can see these are non-zero values versus these are search terms that did not drive any sales. And so I've kind of broken them up into two buckets. Just because they didn't drive sales does not mean that they're not valuable search terms. It just means that we need to separate how we're addressing campaign structure and also bids between something that we know we've made a sale on and something that we haven't. So again, I've kind of color coded this just for simplicity for you guys. Green meaning yes, within our expectations. Yellow meaning it's probably a little bit high. And then red meaning, okay, immediate action needs to be taken because we're not within the bounds of what we'd want to be. So when I kind of look at how we kind of merge these three together, obviously you need to have campaigns created in order to analyze this. So when we kind of go into the next step, which is creation, I'm going to show you guys how really kind of a well thought out structure looks like. And then, as you create those campaigns and hopefully manage them through PackView, over time, you can then download these reports or continue to use the optimization through PackView. It's probably a bit of both, but you could say, hey, these particular SKUs are doing better. Maybe I need to feature them more prominently on my storefront or with a sponsored brands placement versus, hey, we need to tweak our automatic campaigns to be more closely aligned with close or substitute match versus loose match. So I'll just take a break here. Len, what was your question?
Sorry, I can think back to my Zoom. No, my question was because you had mentioned, I think it was on this table with the close and with the loose match. I wasn't sure if you had created this table or if the data dumps basically generated this table for you. That's the only thing I was confused about. But I think you were going to cover that anyway in the creating this file thing anyway. So maybe that question's moot. Does that make sense? I don't know if you're talking right now, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry. So what Len's inquiring, like, how did I get to this table? So really just went into dump targeting, which does look different, and pulled this full data set into a pivot table. So you can create it, do it in a worksheet. And then really what I said is, hey, what's the targeting that I want? And then went through impressions, clicks, click-through rate, spend, ACOS, right? You could use ROAS, which is return on ad spend, but it's pretty similar to so not quite providing another level of insight. It's just 1 over ACOS. So but this is how I got to that table for performance by targeting, right? So it's just generating a pivot table and then
Gotcha.
And so we can pretty easily create a file if we wanted to. I'm hoping that PackView kind of alleviates the need to maybe go too in depth in creating, like an advertising analysis template. But I'm certainly happy to try to investigate that or use something Connors. I can't remember his name, Jason Connors, to create a macro that you could just click and then it would populate this field, it populate these two.
Yeah, that was basically my question, was whether or not this was some kind of macro or format or something, or formula, sorry, that you've created or not. Because I just really like the look of this file. I just didn't know if it was basically because you have, dump ad products, dump targeting. So I didn't know if they were auto-populating those tables or not. Doesn't look like they are, but yeah, that's definitely something I want to look at because I want to do this for teaching.
Okay, cool. So I can I'm just taking a note here. I'm just gonna delete that. Yeah, I can certainly make a file that would put create these outputs. So when we kind of get our eyes glossed over, kind of running through that, when we put this into practice, hopefully it's a little bit more engaging and you can kind of relate with certain products or campaigns that you have running for other brands. But right now, I'm going to start with really kind of the most basic campaign that all of our brands need to have. And that's, you can call it defensive, or you can call it a branded campaign, but these are their own keywords that they really need to be bidding on to make sure that they're winning their own traffic. So a good example, go to Amazon, and I search global glove pug 17. First thing that comes up is actually not our own product. And I know that because we have issues with this. So this is a great example of, hey, we're actually losing our own traffic. Now, it's our product, just a different seller. But we still want to make the sale when someone is searching a very specific search term. Again, Eastern Jungle Gym. Excuse me, I can't type that. What loads? Okay, well, we've got a banner now. We've got both sponsored product placements are our products. Even though it's kind of repeated here, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still happy with that. And as we go down, you'll see Eastern Jungle Gym, Eastern Jungle Gym, Eastern Jungle Gym. It takes the third row before the best seller in the category does show up. So I consider that kind of a win to control most of our traffic. And then obviously as you go down, then more of our products are winning in search, not top of search, but within search, sponsored placements. And then obviously you can move down the page and there will be a couple more at the bottom. Again, we're winning our own traffic, and this is very inexpensive traffic. So using this as an example, when we create this Real Her campaign, so I've done a little bit of groundwork before I started this. I think first it starts with the naming convention. So just use an abbreviation because this is going to pull into PackView and you'll want to be able to diagnose what brand you're working on. So Real Her, this is going to be a keyword specific. It's a manual campaign versus automatic targeted. It's going to be branded, and I'll probably have Lily and Lizzie give some insight here, but I'm going to go with I'll just go with lipstick. This is not how I'd categorize it. So right now, this is my campaign name. I'm just going to copy that. Portfolios, these are just folders for your campaigns. I've created one that says branded. So I want to know how all my branded campaigns are doing. So I'm just going to put them in a branded folder. I'm not going to have an end date. And I'm just going to set it to like $50 a day because I would never want to run out of budget here. So I am going to change to manual targeting because I've identified which items I want to promote and which keywords I want to use to promote them. So I'm going to select that. And then what I'm going to do here, so in the ad group name, this is where I think we can all kind of benefit from the standard process. So I will copy my campaign name so I know exactly the same detail, but then I'm going to add in just Matt. So what I mean by this is I've identified in my file and through the inventory file, hey, here's 3 different types of lipstick that Real Her offers, but Matt is one of those specific parent ASINs. So that's why I'm using that as the suffix there. So I'm going to search for the parent ASIN. Doesn't look like I can find it. See if we can find it. And Lily or Lizzie, I don't know if you've got, I can actually just jump into this. Matt. All right, I am optimistic. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to add all these variations because I know that if I go to this product page, these are all of the Matte lipsticks. So I have a fair amount that I need to advertise. They will all show up. Now, this is one structure that we can do where I'm doing all lipsticks individually. I could also do ad groups by color. I could do plum, right? And then I can do only plum within the products that I'm advertising, and maybe I do liquid, I do matte, etc. But as long as you have, I think, a clear designation and not all of your individual lipstick types, either color and type in the one group, you can split those out in a logical fashion. That's kind of the first big step. So now we'll get to my bid in a second. Obviously, we have bid adjustments, and this will be a component that we'll need to address together. But I'm going to start by entering in some of the keywords that I've identified. So here's a large list. So I'm going to spread this out a little bit. So that should have been gone. Here's what we got. Lip liner. So, you know, if we're creating an ad group for lip liner, maybe I remove that, but liquid lipstick, etc. We want to have a one-to-one pairing here. So let's say I start removing some of these that are not quite in line with matte, right? That's the ad group that I created. I honestly don't know. Sorry, not sorry. Sounds like a specific one, but overall, moisturizing is. I've got keywords that at least are applicable. So this list is taking into consideration some misspellings. Spaces do make a difference. But what I don't care about right now is order, because I have a broad match. The order will take care of itself. So it'll figure out the permutation of the search term. If someone searches the best real her lipstick, well, real her lipstick would come up. So in theory, real her would as well. But if we search the best real her daily lipstick, you know, that's where the search terms will depend on the order that you have. So that's why I have both real her and real her lipstick, as well as the broad match type, because this should all be incorporated in this search term. So I'm going to add these very briefly. I'm trying to keep this to 20 to 25. 17 is okay, because I didn't really prune or curate that list before. You can see that Amazon has a suggested bid. I think the highest that I saw was $1.60 or $1.48, excuse me. But here I've shown you what has been the historical average cost per click, and I actually just did 2.5x. So what I've got is, if I take the max value of what I'm willing to bid here, $1.92, I could set that if I wanted to as my cost per click. Now, that's just going to bid up to that amount for each of these keywords. But again, we actually have a lower value here versus what I'm willing to bid. So if I do the same thing, okay, 77 cents would have been applicable. Now, I want to make sure we're winning these. So I'm willing to double, you know, let's say 250%. Oh my goodness, my keyboard's freaking out. 250% for top of search. Product pages, maybe I'm willing to bid 50% more, but now I can actually do this multiplier using bid plus. So if I would have done $1.92 and these multipliers, then my bid would have been substantially higher. But you can see how certainly this would impact that. 150, not 250. Finally, negative phrase match. If you have search terms that you don't want to show up, so eyeshadow, for example. So each of these are for a different branded campaign that I want to run. I'm actually going to put these in here because I don't want the lipstick to show up in our eyeshadow, eyeliner, etc. I don't think that that would add value to us. I think that would just create unnecessary spend. So that would be one of the things that I could do to try to prevent cross bidding. And then I'd launch this campaign. So in a vacuum, we're bidding on 17 search terms. With the broad match, we've got some negative phrase match, but we only did matte lipstick. So I think one thing that I've just seen kind of across the board is that when we're creating a campaign, the ad group structure can be extremely important. And I think that's kind of where we can kind of elevate everybody's understanding here. So my goal with this campaign was to highlight all lipsticks in branded fashion. So I need to create ad groups for matte liquid, metallic liquid, and Lily or Lizzie, if you want to pop up and let me know the other ones. Moisturizing looks like another one. I think that is it. I know this is another one.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. Yeah, they're all grouped right there in like the catalog page. The only ones that will not be up there in that top section are all of the ones that we have from the old packaging that are like on clearance. But,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do really quick, because I forgot my naming convention. Should load in a second. Okay. So I'm creating a second campaign here. So, but this is matte liquid, right? And so again, I can pull the parent ASIN, or you can actually just find an example here. If you paste the product, then you can add all the variations. Again, if we want to keep our bid the same, I said 77 cents. Our bid plus is still in effect because that bid plus was on the entire campaign, not on that ad group. So just something to be wary of is that your multipliers apply to all the ad groups, but I could change, this to be 27 cents, and then that obviously will change, but overall, I'm just going to keep it uniform. Then keyword targeting, and then it's going to be kind of similar. I'm going to paste in these lipstick search terms that I have. Now it's matte liquid. So I might be willing to keep in that liquid lipstick because it's kind of breaching in a new category. Lip plumping, lip liner, lip kit, girl power, eyeshadow, okay. Cool. So I think this is 17 search terms. 18. I guess we added one more. And then again, negative phrase match. This is a ad group level change. So now I've created almost the same search terms in this example, but we're advertising different products. So in that regard, we are kind of cross bidding, the products against each other. But if we're owning this traffic in general, then that's something I'm willing to do. So what would happen now is, okay, we've got two ad groups. We've got matte liquid. Lizzie and Lily will keep going and they will do, metallic liquid and the other lipsticks. So that would be just one branded campaign within sponsored products. I would replicate branded campaigns and do eyeshadow. I would do lip gloss. I would do eyeliner, right? Like these major kind of lines that they have, create a branded campaign to support each of those. Now, that's one advertising type within Amazon advertising. The second one that we can do with the same keywords would be creating a sponsored brands campaign. So when I showed you Eastern Jungle Gym, we're winning the search results, but we're also winning the visual of the banner up top. So I might go through, grab the same keywords again. So I'm bidding on those same keywords and then create this banner, obviously not using Eastern Jungle Gym, but create that so that's going to the store. So if you're winning the traffic and search results, then you can execute on conversion because they're going right to the product page with an intent to buy. Or if they click the banner, then you're getting someone that is considering, so has shopping intent, but may not know which product that they want. And so if your storefront is clean, and I know that Lily and Lizzie have spent a lot of time here, you know, if someone's landing on this, I think they would spend a lot of time here, and you might be able to upsell them. So having kind of 2 routes for traffic is certainly important. But I'm just going to show you guys a visual. So you'd have, if we kind of slice this in half, I have, okay, this new sponsored products campaign done with the same keywords as a sponsored brand, right? So I've highlighted in orange sponsored brands and yellow sponsored products. So I kind of want them to mirror each other. What time is it? It's 4:10. Okay. The second area, so this was all in just branded campaigns. So these are our own permutations of real her, things like that. It doesn't even address just lipstick, right? Like when someone's searching something super broad, who wouldn't even be getting that traffic unless they have real her in that search term. So if we move to categorical, we're probably not going to have the banner and sponsored products displaying at the same time. That would be great for some of these search terms. So we can certainly replicate them in that same fashion, but I also think it's important to grow the number of categorical search terms that we have, and that's done through pairing manual targeting with automatic targeting. So what I've found is using the search term performance, finding non-zero revenue search terms, excuse me, and finding some with a decent associated cost of sale. Okay, I've generated a list of 17 keywords, and some of them I see are potentially our search terms. So do your squats, girl power, I think those are specific items. But I'm gonna use this short list as an example. So if I create a new campaign, I'm, instead of saying, okay, hey, keyword slash or keyword dash manual dash branded, I might say keyword manual category, and then I'm going to identify that this is still lipstick. And then again, I'm copying this, and when I create my ad group, we want to continue that same organization where I'm going to do matte, I'm going to do matte liquid, I'm going to do metallic liquid. So keep those ad groups consistent instead of kind of changing them up. And that'll make it a lot easier to manage your accounts and manage the ads going on. So I would go through, I'd paste these keywords in, right? I'm not going to go through the full example here. I'm just going to kind of visualize it for you. Where is it? Thank you. You know, drop the keywords in. Once you've created that, you've created the ad groups. We want to create an automatic campaign to mirror whatever you just created. So if you went through, created the manual category lipstick, you created all the ad groups, you use those 17 keywords, or you use the other 250 keywords that you have, depending on what your research is. Once that manual targeting is done, we still want Amazon to help us with generating new ideas for search terms and getting the maximum reach possible through both detail pages off platform and then obviously within search results. So I would create an auto targeted campaign. You know, Lizzie and Lily, we can talk about portfolios, but I'm going to leave this as down only for now. I don't want Amazon to automatically raise our bids just because we've had some concerns with ACOS. And I'm going to adjust this. The auto. So grabbing the matte SKU, I'm just going to grab an example here. There you go. So now we get into targeting. So again, by campaign level, 75 cents is a pretty reasonable amount. But what I kind of showed you guys in this performance by targeting, because I do my homework, I'm actually going to set it by, a little bit tighter grouping. So we've found that, oh, this is not right. CPC, excuse me. There we go. Okay. So right now, loose match is a 78-cent cost per click versus close match is 55 cents, and substitutes are 38 cents. But we have a higher return on investment here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my bid adjustments for substitutes, and you can kind of see the difference between the description for each of these. So let's say Doppler 400 count cotton sheets, they'll show an ad on a detail page that includes 300 count cotton sheets and Queen 400 count cotton sheets. So instead of brand, it's got the size, the mattress, or the exact same product, but maybe a different kind of level of quality. But what I am going to do, I don't want to lose our loose match visibility because there's a lot of impressions here. But I am going to put it at the smallest, amount. Maybe I do 25 cents. We'll see how it goes. But you can see why I would want to increase our bids here by the targeting group. And I can turn this off. I can turn that off entirely if I want to. But Amazon is saying, hey, maybe keep it on right now, but maybe they just want me to do it because we spend a lot of money, and don't get the performance that we could. But I think this is useful to know on how to set for automatic campaigns. But if you're creating this for the first time, you are not going to have the information to execute that for the brand. We can certainly talk about it as an organization and say, hey, here's what I'm seeing for return on investment for close match or return on investment for substitutes across multiple products, and give people an idea. But things could certainly be different brand by brand. So you'll probably have to kind of do trial and error, get it up and do a default bid. And then maybe down the road, you have to create a new automatic campaign that, is more closely targeted by grouping. Now, here is what I do want to exclude. When I went into our search term performance, there were some that we did not do very well. Obviously, we've got the list over here that has revenue associated with it, but we've got those that there's no revenue associated with it. So what I'm going to do to help kind of qualify what is not a strong performer, I'm actually going to say at least greater than 9. There you go. So anything with 10 clicks or more, I'm going to say, hey, I don't think we're doing a very good job with that particular search term. We could copy these and do them in a negative phrase. Now, I think that is probably overkill because we do want to have nude lipstick. A permutation of that is a nude cruelty-free nude lipstick. Like maybe that's a search term that we have bid on that we would do quite well. But currently our spend is pointing to, hey, we're not converting yet. So instead of doing a phrase match, I could do exact match. So only individuals that are searching just makeup with 2 words. That's probably a little too broad. So I'm okay with that being an excluded search term for this. But we do have to make sure that we're kind of monitoring so that somewhere, we're not bidding this exact search term and spending a lot, or if we decided to not do that, just making sure that it's uniform across our campaigns. So make sure that looks good. It's probably a little aggressive. So what I'm recommending is that you go through, create sponsor product, sponsor brand campaigns within Seller Central just to get used to it. Over time, we can certainly do creation through pack view. But I think I kind of want you guys to understand some of the bid multipliers and the ins and outs of that. Once you have your campaigns created, I don't think this is going to flow through yet to Pack because I ping it every hour. Yeah, so I'm going to use just a different example. Once you have your campaigns and your ad groups ready to go, and they're loaded into PackView, this is where we can kind of put a second layer of management. So this is going to be kind of probably a different conversation once I have each of you kind of working on creating these ad campaigns. But we can go through how we're doing day parting, setting weekly budgeting. Do we have optimization rules? You can see that, like, for the most part, I have day parting, but I don't have optimization rules. But we can kind of go through how we can automate some of the management here. But it all starts with kind of a cohesive structure, because if we don't have well-defined buckets for search terms or buckets for products or buckets by targeting type, then it's just going to be really messy to try to be able to optimize it. So I wanted to stop kind of some of my walkthrough and then just kind of leave some of the rest of the time here for you guys to like ask questions, and maybe like I'll drive and you guys can just tell me where to click or kind of what your idea is. But I wanted to use this time as kind of like a sounding board for you guys to ask additional questions.
Oh wait, can we do, I like that idea. Can we do like where we kind of like pick what gets clicked and selected and we like all like set one up that way?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Do you want me to start with a whole new campaign, or what would you do? I'll just go to campaign manager and we'll go from there.
What do you guys think? I was thinking like just adding another product group onto one of these that we already made, but what does everyone else want? Does anyone else want like the full initial setup?
That sounds good.
That sounds good. I'm gonna be following this video like from beginning to end later too. So.
Oh God.
Wait, we recorded it?
Yeah, I'm recording it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it worked really well with the reporting, so I'll just do it again with
You might as well watch Ken Burns baseball if you think this is going to be riveting stuff. Like,
this is more entertaining than any baseball game.
First of all, Ken Burns baseball is 21 hours. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'll digress. Okay, so let's. Yeah, you tell me. Do you want to do? Well, I would like to use one of the two.
Yeah.
Campaigns we created. So you can pick which one you'd like to work on.
All right, team. I made the idea. You guys pick which one.
Let's do the matte liquid one. Was that one of them?
That was one of the ad groups. Yeah, so that was under the branded. Yep, totally. So yeah, these were the two that we created. Now you can see, just to stop here, you can see the number of targets. So targets equal keywords that we've submitted, and products equal advertised products. So I just kind of wanted to highlight for that particular instance what these numbers mean. So Lily, you want to drive? Tell me where to click, or I can click and explain, but let's.
Okay, so we'd pick our next type of like lipstick, right? So would we head over to the Excel file, and just like pick one?
Sure. So I think.
So we have matte liquid. So next we could do like lip gloss. Okay.
Yeah. So we can do.
Or do you want to keep like the lipsticks, then do the rest of them separate? So we should do metallic liquid.
Yeah. So in theory, like there would be nothing wrong with doing lip gloss, lip plumper, lip liner, lip kit, lipstick in each individual ad group, but that's a really big campaign. And I think that it just may be a little bit easier to manage if you group them where like eyeshadow, lipstick, like lip plumper, and maybe lip plumper and lip gloss fall in together. I don't wear makeup, so it's hard for me to kind of give you guys advice on how to break this up. But I would say happy to do lip gloss in this instance, as long as we're doing it in its own ad group, right? Like that, like that's just the base component. But my one question that maybe you and Lizzie can answer, within lip gloss, my question is, can this be broken down?
No. These are so there's like it's basically broken down. The top level categories are like by where you put them. So this is all like the lip cat. This is so lip would be the category, and all these guys are the subcats.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what you could do, these are all lip. I'm just gonna make sure I've got. I'm gonna close these. Moisturizing lipstick. That's the one I forgot. So we could certainly, I think I'm missing a couple of matte liquid. Oh, I do have that. What else here? Color rich lip gloss, eyeshadow, mascara, highlighter, moisturizing lipstick, lip kit, lip liner. Is there anyone that I'm missing? Is color rich lip gloss a new or an old item?
No, that's I think it would have to be old. I think these are all of the new ones. Moisturizing metallic. Yeah. I mean, I think I have the store open on a different page. Oh wait, here we go. Metallic, matte liquid, matte.
We should have 7. Yeah, I think we've got
them. Okay, let's see. We have just normal matte, right? Not matte liquid.
We've got, yeah, we already did matte.
Okay, there we go.
Yep, so that was one.
I think that's all of them.
Okay, cool. So we have 7. So under this premise, so I would just like to kind of show you guys what originally existed in the advertising manager was lips, eyes, branded. So Lily just broke down, hey, lip is just like the overarching kind of silo of all of these product lines. So that's why there's a portfolio there. Now I did a branded campaign, like independent, because though I see lip and eyes as you could break it down by how you're searching that. But within this particular campaign, what we're about to do is create an ad group for, I think Lily, you said lip gloss. So we're gonna do that. And I'm going to do real her keyword manual. I'm just gonna, we can change it to lip, but this is lip gloss, right? So, do you want me to pull the ASIN?
Also, my fake OCD. Can we do lips instead of lip? Thanks.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they're all grouped together.
Cool. So, for everybody, if I just wanted to search this one product, I can do that. But I'm clicking add variations to get all the lip glosses. So now they show up. All right. So now, what would you do next here, Lily? Sorry.
Okay, so now we want to I personally always make sure the numbers match. So we have 7 here, and then did the family have 7 or 9?
Yeah, we had 7.
Okay, perfect. All right, so next we decide on a bid amount, right?
Yep. So if we move down,
and we use the Excel to do that.
Yeah, in this instance I did. So
I usually just do what the recommended one is, but this is more sophisticated.
So lip glosses, we had. That doesn't seem right. Yeah, this isn't. Why are all my? Here we go. Oh, my cost per click so funky, Comedina. All right, so this is what we had. So the average here was 43 cents. So that's what Lily was mentioning in the Excel sheet that we could pull. And then to reference this for you guys, this is coming from targeting dump. And then I pulled that from ad group. So ad group is a bucket that you do. Obviously, the more campaigns you have, the more ad groups you'll have. But that is where I would end up with 43 cents based off of what our historical value is. Now, just again, a reminder that bid plus for top of search, that is again, in effect from the campaign level, not the ad group level. So cool. What's next, Lily?
Let's see. So then we're keeping the keyword targeting because we're not going to, yeah. And then let's see, keyword time. Okay. So we go to enter keywords and then flip back over. And so this one, we're doing all the broad ones first, right?
Yeah, and so I think that'll be easiest right now. And I think I've got, this one might be lip gloss and lip plumper together.
Yeah, they're plumping lip glosses, so it would make sense.
Got it. Okay, so those are the same item?
Yeah, same product, yeah.
Okay, I think moisturizing is not, but I can remove that. So this was the list of keywords. So lip plumper, lip gloss. Does liquid make sense in this instance? Is it a lip or no?
I would get rid of liquid, personally.
Okay, matte and lipstick as well.
Maybe leave lipstick since it is still like a lip thing, but liquid can be liner, it can be so many things.
Makeup, plumper, lip gloss, liquid lipstick. It's up to you guys. I think matte probably could go.
Yeah, probably not matte, yeah.
And then
Those guys. I mean, moisturizing maybe if we think that they're what do you call it? If we think that their lip gloss is moisturizing, I think they might include that on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add these. One thing we can do, obviously these are from me pulling the form. If Lily was creating this from scratch, she could also use the suggested list. So these are ones that Amazon is coming up with. They're all broad match. Here are some that would make sense for lip gloss, but I just kind of want to remind you guys, this was still a branded campaign, right? So pink lip gloss, while very valuable, is not the right search term when we could just talk about the specific branded campaign and the ad group beneath it. But when we go up, maybe Real Her, I Am Awesome. I don't know if that's applicable. Lily, you can tell me if it is or isn't.
I think it might be one of.
Okay.
I have to check. But yeah, I think anyone who knows a particular product name probably would want to drive them to the products.
Sure, and I think Real Her is also another good one. So this would be our list of 18 keywords, and this would ultimately target only those through the 43 cents cost per click that we set. Obviously, increased bid by top of search and product page. And then the final thing would be the negative phrase match or exact match. So what I was gonna just pull was the I stuff. Now, we could also do this list. What I would be slightly concerned with is that Real Her lip, Real Her by itself still is very valuable for the lip gloss. So we might not want to remove that, but as long as these are not bidding against the I products, then I'm okay. In theory, I would be okay with that. And so I would just add the negative keywords and just review quick. So we've got the ad group name, the lips lip gloss, products, our bid strategy, our targeting is by keyword. We've got our keyword list that we enter, or you can upload a file if you want. But for a visual perspective, we did it kind of manually today. And then the negative keyword targeting. One thing I think Lily will probably want is for these ad groups, we're going to change them, not lipstick, but lips, to be consistent. And you can edit ad groups and campaigns through the settings, which is nice. So if you need to change your nomenclature, or do anything like that, it's
perfect.
Quite quick. Cool. Now, we only worked on sponsored products in this process, and I've got a jet in just a moment. One thing to note is that when Lily went through and was kind of guiding me, one of the targeting types was not just search terms, but it was also products. So if we go down, and I believe it did go. We can do keyword targeting. We can also do product targeting. So in this example, instead of keywords that you'd submit, you could do by category or you could do by individual products. And that's where I actually generated a list here. So like you could actually target just this competitor products or even our own branded products. But I think we can certainly go through that kind of on the next call. So there's still a lot of probably of a learning curve. And I know that everybody's taken the Amazon sponsored ads accreditation, which is great. So I hope there's a little bit of background that you guys have. But what I'd like to see is for your brands that you're working on that marketing is a part of their account. If they don't have some of these sponsored brand products created, go ahead and create that. And you can save it as a draft. But at least that's kind of like the homework that we could go through, get familiar with creating that process. So that like on the next one, we can kind of go through individually and kind of run through what was good, what maybe could be tweaked. For companies that we work with that already have campaigns, I think starting to do some analysis would be that next step. So just getting familiar with how am I downloading the reports, and I can send out the template for people to kind of replicate. You're basically taking the dump, creating a pivot table, and putting it into a file. And then that would help us analyze what changes would we need to make for either creating future campaigns or adjusting the ones we already have. Any kind of burning questions? And there's no silly questions. So if you're like, hey, I don't know what term it is that you just referenced, or anything like that, please feel free to speak up. But yeah,
I have one maybe silly question. I think maybe you mentioned this. I don't know if I missed it or if I didn't hear it. Yours, but one of the things that you were looking at, where you were looking at your cost per click, right? That you were getting from that table, the targeting table, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So the cost per click that you have there, right? That's only because you've already been running those keywords and you already have data on them, right? So if this was new products with new keywords, you wouldn't necessarily have that information, right? This is because you already have data for these.
Yeah, that is correct. So if I created a new campaign, let's say automatic, it's $150 a day. This is, whatever. If I add this product, Amazon will give me a recommendation. Mm-hmm. And if I'm being bullish, yeah, you could put it towards the top end. If you're very, very tight on budget, you could put it at the low end. But I don't like to just use Amazon's number, but they are.
Yeah, there's some logic behind it.
Yeah, but but they're also trying to make money, right? So just take that with a grain of salt. But yes, I did analysis which let me determine what our historical cost per click has been, but that may not be the reality for other brands.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to ask because I'm thinking if you wanted to set up a brand new campaign and you didn't have, basically you had a list of brand new keywords, then basically, like you said, you would do the automated campaign, go with the recommendation that Amazon gives you, and then based on the results that you get from the automated campaign, then you would use those keywords, and then you would have all this cost per click data, which you now have, right? This is because you've already been running these keywords.
Sure. And one thing that you can look at too, so this is by targeting, right? So this was from an ad group level. Lip gloss was 43 cents cost per click. Now, if I wanted to change how I looked at that information, so if I said, no, ad group isn't great to analyze that, maybe I want to look at search terms. So you could go in and just say, hey, anything with the word lip. Then I could say from keywords that we generated sales on, what was our average cost per click? And I could go down and say, well, it was actually 62 cents if we made a sale. So that would be like another way, if you have the data, that you could identify your average cost per click. Instead of just doing by the performance of the campaign itself, you would look at, all keywords across all campaigns and get kind of a more of an aggregate there.
All right. I follow you.
Cool.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yep.
Just a general question. So
Yeah.
how do you determine how to set the daily budget?
Mm-hmm. So for many of these, it's kind of just see if it sticks. It's not always the great answer, but I would say branded is easier to convince me, like, hey, you should never run out of budget on your branded campaign. So if you set that at least $50 a day, I don't think anyone's going to be touching that. Not even close. But I think just having ample room for upward mobility and spend. But when we talk about automatic campaigns or manual campaigns, typically what I've read is that when you start a campaign, it's like $30 is what people will set, and they let it run for a week or two. Keep in mind that these are sellers, so maybe people doing a white label or trying to grow their small business. If they're willing to spend that to grow their product, I think that established brands and the people that we're working with should be able to do that as well. But if you have 15, 20 campaigns and it's $30 a day, right? Like in theory, you could be spending $600 a day, and that's a lot of money. So I would say to start, try at $30 for an auto campaign. In general, I wouldn't set it less than 10, because if you think about it, if it's $1 a click for some items or for some keywords, that's 10 clicks. That's less than one every 2 hours. So, you'd want to run that campaign as long as possible. But yeah, I think 10 is always a good baseline. But honestly, I think as an organization, we could probably be more aggressive with how much we're expecting our brands to spend. But in general, $10 minimum for a new manual campaign, probably $25, $30 minimum for new automatic campaign. And then you'll see how performance is, and if things are going well, then it's easier to convince people to open up the budget.
Okay. And I assume like when you're initially setting these up, you would want to run by those daily budgets with the client, has that already been in their contract?
Yeah, I think, so everyone's got like a minimum 2% spend that they should be doing. That's pretty small though. So what I'm thinking here is it's definitely worthwhile to bring it up, saying, hey, we're adjusting our pay-per-click campaigns. Sorry, the dog's going crazy. We want to see how things are performing, and in order to do that, we need this minimum, budget for 2 weeks. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to spend that. That's just the cap. So it could be, the reality that we spend $4 a day on a $30 budget, and we don't have to, address the delta. But I think communicating that. Now for brands like Real Her, they have a substantial spend going on already. So if I look at from 222 to 922 to 928, they're spending $300 a week anyway. So if I make changes to the spend, they probably won't notice unless it's a change in performance. So I think for the most part, everyone's got campaigns running. But for like Miji or for Atrush or some of these new companies, explaining to them that like, hey, to get things going, we need a kind of initial jump up in spend. Then that allows us to react, optimize. But here's some minimum investments that you guys got to look at.
Okay,
Good question.
thank you.
And I know it's a lot to digest. I think, let me see if I have this. I don't know if I saved it. Oh, these are all keyword. I had saved a couple training for you guys, but I can't find it. Yeah, I'll see if I can find that resource. Yeah, between now and maybe next week, I'm just going to check my calendar quick. Let's see if I can find this. Did this time next Thursday still work for most people?
Yeah.
Not gonna work for me, but
Okay.
recording it, I can just watch it after too.
Okay.
Yeah, I typically have our kid focus call
Okay.
at 4 o'clock. This week they pushed it out, so it's, or I guess 2 o'clock Pacific, but we were doing it later tonight. So, but yeah, I guess I would only be able to join the first 30 minutes next week if we did it at the same time.
Cool. Well, I will send over just an invite, and you know, I can see everybody's calendar, so I'll just try to find a hole that works, and see if we can do it then. So
Okay.
Might be crazy suggesting this, but maybe just us all blocking out an hour a week or like a half hour a week to just do PPC chat.
Sure.
For a few weeks might be a good idea of answering questions. I don't know, just brainstorm off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm happy to do that. And I'm hoping that this is kind of like the most difficult part of the learning curve is trying to, engage in every single component. But I think once everyone knows how to create the structure for campaigns and how to, do keyword research and adjust bids, then we can kind of move to the next step on. It's like, hey, what are additional strategies? Should we be looking at, product, keyword, and display ads all kind of in one large grouping of, targets for a specific product. But that'll be kind of the next step. So other than that, I've got a jet, so I'm gonna stop the recording and I will save